Not this time. Not this time, you prick.
All right, we're back for Brews and Bets. We're live, and CG, where are you right now in the wilderness? What's going on?
I am in northern Michigan. We're out here this weekend for my wife's best friend's wedding. So rented a cottage, and I'll tell you what, if you ever get the chance to go to northern Michigan, take that opportunity, man. It's awesome out here, especially in the summer and the fall.
Listen, if I have to pack the car the way that you pack the car, there's no way I'm going to northern Michigan.
That was asinine. I swear to God, I don't think we could get by without a truck with a 6-foot bed. Just outlandish.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Raphael, how we doing? Raphael Esparza, who, go ahead, introduce yourself, Raphael.
I'm one of the odds makers over at my bookies. Do a lot of the MMA stuff. As most of people know, I do a lot of the crazy betting prop bets for my bookie as well. So, it's a fun time. UFC 240. Can it subdue to what we saw last weekend? I think a lot of people are still talking about last weekend's UFC card. So it's going to be very interesting. We were talking off the air on this UFC 240 card. Can it match up to what we all saw on free TV, ESPN? And now we have to pay a ridiculous price for a whole bunch of heavy favorites.
Yeah, and on top of that, in a couple of weeks, there's going to be a card in Newark, and we just lost a fight about a week and a half ago, and I'm honestly covering the fight, the card, and I'm not even looking forward to it much anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, being from Vegas, living part-time and all that, and so I get to see and talk to a lot of people when I go to the performance center and stuff like that. There's a lot of grumblings. The fighters and a lot of the management, there's a lot of grumblings about how they're booking some of these ESPN events with a lot of fights. A lot of people say maybe they need to dwindle the card down so you can have a little bit more better card action on bigger events. So I can guarantee you the UFC, the suits in the back are probably sweating on this UFC card. Make sure maybe Holloway and Edgar is going to be a good fight, and hopefully Cyborg doesn't break a time record with a knockout, because I think they're really pushing on something, on maybe a good event coming up.
Well, and that you're giving away my Cyborg play, but let's get into this card. This is UFC 240, right? Is the number Holloway versus Edgar? And I just noticed the first fight. I didn't even notice this until now. The first fight is off the card. Lemos and Bozer.
Really?
You guys know this? Lemos failed the drug test.
Yes, Lemos failed the drug test.
Okay,
but
so
I have not heard officially if they were going to fight another fighter or not for that fight yet. But I know he did fail the drug test this afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even notice right now. I just opened it up and saw it, because the paper I'm working off when I printed it out yesterday was still going. So CG, let me throw you this first fight: Kyle Stewart and Eric Koch. It's at 170 pounds. What do you think here, bro?
It's a tough fight to call because we haven't seen Eric Koch at 170 pounds. He's coming off 2 losses, and he has had a rough history of concussions. The thing about Kyle Stewart is, the guy, he's a good striker. He's 11-2, 7 finishes, but was effortlessly taken down and finished by Chase Rencounter. So if Eric Koch comes in with a grappling heavy game plan, I think he's the more talented fighter. So we just don't have much of a sample set with Kyle Stewart at the UFC level, right? I don't know how early it was, but Rencounter finished him within a couple minutes. And so I think I have to give the edge to the more experienced Eric Koch in this fight. And especially in DraftKings, I want to say Eric Koch's 8,000, and I think he's the Vegas favorite last time I checked. So Eric Koch is definitely the play for me.
Yeah, and you basically took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to go Koch because I think that he can use a grappling heavy approach. Raphael, what do you think about this one, Koch and Stewart?
Out of the whole betting card right now, this is the least bet fight on the card right now. And I've talked to multiple sources, multiple shops, not including my bookie, but MGM at the same time. So this fight getting not that much action. And I agree with you. The Koch's experienced fighter, if he gets him on the ground, it's going to be a totally different fight. How does Stewart going to react to that if he keeps on getting taken down? There's only one way for me to play this one, Koch. And I would say hurry up. I think the public will probably bet him towards the weekend. It's a pick 'em right now. Some shops have him the small favorite, but I would not be shocked if Koch probably ends up around minus 130 favorite.
Yeah, how about a finish? You think submission or you think decision? Decision is plus 304. Submission is plus 625.
I'm gonna say submission because I think Coke's gonna be able to get him down pretty easily. I think in the second round, I think that's when he's gonna probably take over the control phase. So I'll take that plus money on that
Yeah, that's it. CG, you like that or no? What do you think?
Yeah, I like win by submission. I mean, I am concerned about how Coke's skill set is going to be transferable to the next weight class at 170 because Clay Guida took him down on multiple occasions. Coke really didn't do anything off his back, couldn't get back up. And let's not forget, Clay Guida used to fight at 145. And now we got Coke moving up to 170. So I don't know. I think he can get some takedowns. I'm hoping that he can control Stewart on the ground. But I mean, when Rencounter took down Stewart didn't have anything. Yeah. So I'm hoping that Coke can make easy work of him.
Yeah, I'm going to go Coke either by decision or submission. But I do like that plus money.
Should I put a betting prop up? Will Coke have a tattoo on his right side of his chest? Because he's pretty tatted up all over the place. And the last time I saw him fight against, I think it was Green, everything was tattooed except his right side of his chest. So I should put a betting prop up on him.
I'm pretty sure we're going to see something on that. But I'll break down this next one real quick, and then I'll throw you the Pantoja fight. But Jillian Robertson and Sarah Froda, this is a toss up. And for the most part, I think it's a good toss-up fight. It's a pick'em. Robertson is minus 115. Froda is minus 105. I personally like Froda a lot. I played her a lot on DraftKings in her last fight. If you do remember, though, I believe she weighed in like 7 pounds over. It was kind of ridiculous. CG, do you remember that? Was it like 7 or 8 pounds over?
Yeah, it was 7 or 8 pounds. She looked huge.
She was huge. And she still lost the fight because she got taken down. Which is why this is more or less a pick'em, because if Robertson is able to get Froda down, Froda had the fight also submissions last time out. That may happen again here, but on the feet, I mean, Froda's the better striker, and she has some power. If you go back to 2 fights ago, she was able to piece that girl pretty up. I think she pretty good, and she was able to. I think she won that fight on the feet, right? It was a TKO, but I don't think she actually knocked her down. I think the ref called it on the feet. So I'm going to go Froda here, but if you're going Robertson, I think you got to go Robertson by sub. Froda probably by decision. It could be a knockout, but more or less I think she'll probably get a decision if she's able to work that. I think Robertson will probably win a round and get Froda to the ground. So I'll go Froda by decision. That's my official play. Raphael, what do you think here?
If you like Froda, wait, because this is in Canada. They're gonna bet Robertson just because of that. I would wait because you're gonna get some nice plus money on that. I totally agree with you. I know Froda's coming off that decision split on her last fight, but that's not a bad loss. She just lost. She lost the last second round and just got. I think she gassed out in the third. I totally agree. I'm not a big fan of Robertson. I think Froda. If you're gonna bet that, I said please wait because I can guarantee you're gonna get plus money on that.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense being home. Edmonton, right? That's where this is.
Edmonton or Vancouver?
Where is it?
I think it's Edmonton.
Yeah, it is. It's Edmonton. CG, what do you think? Who's your play here?
Sarah Froda. Froda has volume on her side, 6.3 strikes per minute. She has a 6-inch reach over Robertson. When you look at Robert's game, she wants to take you down and she wants to submit you. Let's look at the 3 people that she's been able to submit at the UFC level. Emily Whitmire, who is always susceptible to the submission. Molly McCann, who is a striker. She doesn't have much of a grappling game whatsoever. And Macedo, who has yet to have a UFC win on her record. So I think Froda is going to be a big step up in competition for Robertson. And if the fight can remain standing, then Froda has the definite edge. And another thing about Froda, I think even if Robertson gets her to the ground, I think Froda is going to be able to use her strength to get back up. Froda's never been submitted. We have no reason to believe that she's going to be submitted by Robertson. So, I mean, I kind of compare it to the Greg Hardy Juan Adams fight. You know, everyone was saying, well, if Adams gets it to the ground, well, it's a big if. And even if it, did happen, there's such a big disparity in the striking game between these two fighters, just like there was with those two. Froda is tough. She doesn't even look like a woman. I mean, she just looks like a goddamn robot. So Sarah Froda and, looking at Jillian Robertson, her 4 UFC fights, they've all ended inside the distance. So I even think that she can finish.
CG, you do realize there's 3 people here that were all on Greg Hardy last week too. Raphael actually texted me every week or every 2 weeks. We go back and forth. Who do you like? Who do you like? And he was on Hardy too last week. So yeah, we were all drinking the Kool-Aid last week. Raphael, let me formally introduce you to the podcast and throw this next fight to you. It's a pretty good one. Davison Figueiredo and Andre Pantoja. What do you think here? More or less a pick 'em, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much pick him. Late money came in today on Pajora. I like him. This one's probably could easily have fight of the night. Both Brazilian fighters. I think this is going to be outstanding. I kind of like Figueiredo on this one. I'm getting plus money on him. I think when we close out, and I think his skills. I think we're easily going to see a 3-round fight on this one, and I think he just has better cardio, and I think that's why he steals this fight. Give me the cardio guy. Both orthodox fighters. I'm taking cardio anytime I see two midgets in the ring. I always take the best guy who has better cardio. Give me that one.
All right, so CG, I'm going to throw it to you because I know you're on Pantoja. What do you think here?
How do you know I'm on Pantoja?
You told me. You texted me early in the week.
Ah, damn it. Okay. So I don't like these inside the distance lines. Look at Pantoja wins inside the distance plus 450. Figueiredo wins inside the distance plus 270. What it comes down to for me is I just believe that Pantoja has the more well-rounded skill set. Pantoja is the more technical striker, although Figueiredo does have more power. The way that Pantoja was able to outbox Brandon Moreno, he's able to knock out Wilson Heiss. He's a very underrated striker, and if the fight hits the mat, Pantoja is going to have the edge there as well. So I just think that he has more avenues to victory, and I like Pantoja. And I'll tell you what, I don't think I'm going to bet him inside the distance, but at plus 450, I mean, Pantoja is somebody that lands 4.5 strikes per minute. Figueiredo, although he's a powerful striker, lands less than 2 strikes per minute. Figueiredo lands more takedowns, but you don't want to take down Pantoja. So like I said, I think Pantoja has the more well-rounded skill set. And I think that Figueiredo was kind of exposed in his last loss to Formiga. So
yeah, I do agree with that. I think Figueiredo was exposed, but there's things that went on in that Pantoja Dustin Ortiz fight, if you remember a few fights ago, that I think make me think that Figueiredo, if he can get into that second round, he's going to be able to get Pantoja's back. And that's really what worries me about this fight, man. If Pantoja can finish the fight in the first round, I think it's his fight. But if this goes into the second or third round, I think this is Figueiredo's fight.
Yeah, the longer this fight goes, I think that's why I don't see a quick knockout or a quick submission. This one goes late in the rounds. I think that's why I like the plus money.
I don't think you can compare Figueiredo to Dustin Ortiz. Dustin Ortiz is a rinse and repeat takedown threat, relentless grappler. I don't know. Maybe you guys are right. I don't think so.
CG, what do you think Figueiredo is going to try to do? I mean, he basically takes everyone's back, right? That's his whole game plan. I want to take your back, try to submit you, rear naked choke, or win rounds. No?
I mean, relentless ground and pound too.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to get ground and pound. I think he's going to take his back. I think he's going to try to take his back.
Well, another thing about Pantoja, don't you agree that if Figueiredo wins this fight, I kind of think that he has to win inside the distance. I think he doesn't have the value to outstrike Pantoja. And Pantoja's never been finished. Very durable. You disagree? So I guess if Figueiredo wins by decision, it's going to have to be grappling based.
I think that's exactly what I think. I think it's going to be grappling based, and I think in rounds 2 and 3, I think he's going to have his way with Pantoja. I think Pantoja wins round 1, maybe even hurts Figueiredo a little bit. But if it gets into round 2, I think Figueiredo can get it into some kind of a scramble, get it up against the cage, maybe get him down and take the back. He's great at taking the back. Yeah. That's why I'm not betting anything here, because I can see paths for both guys. So that's where I'm at right now. But
it's a close fight.
Yeah, that's take it for what it's worth. But CG, Gavin Tucker and Siwoo Choi. I'll be honest with you, I did not watch any film on Choi, so I'm not even going to give you guys an opinion. So I'll let you guys duke it out. What do you think, CG?
So Choi is 7-2. He has 5 KOs. And I remember watching Gavin Tucker's first fight against Sam Sicilian thinking, man, this Tucker kid's good. He's got good foot movement. He fights at great angles. He was outboxing the shit out of Sam Cecilia. He was very good at getting in and getting out before Cecilia could counter. Then he fights Rick Glenn and gets absolutely obliterated. He absorbed 142 strikes in that fight. So you look at Choi's last fight. He lost to Evloev, who is going to be a future star in the UFC, potentially future champion. And Choi was taken down 5 times in that fight. That's not going to happen against Gavin Tucker. Choi has an 8-inch reach over Tucker. And, Tucker was very, very successful against Sam Cecilia, but those two fighters had pretty much the same reach. I don't think he's going to have the same striking success that he did against Cecilia against Choi. I think the counter is going to be there for Choi all day. I love these Korean fighters. They're stoic, they're technical, they're tough. I like Choi at dog money. It does concern me that this fight is in Canada, and we know about the Canadian judges, but I just think that this is a great dog spot, and I like Choi, and potentially by finish as well. That beating that Gavin Tucker took against Rick Glenn, man. I mean, he took 2 years off, but he needed to. I mean, he got beat up that bad. So I don't know if you ever recover from that mentally. So I like Choi for sure.
Yeah, it's a good breakdown. Raphael, what do you think here?
I agree. I think that beat down 2 years ago, that's a big factor. 2 years of thinking that how bad you got beat down your last fight, and now you have to face a Korean fighter or a child that's going to be bigger, that's going to want to erase his last fight, what was a loss as well. I'm waiting to see if this goes to plus money. Right now, it's pretty much a pick 'em. We have minus 110. If this goes to plus money, I'm taking my allowance that my wife gives me to put some money on Chow.
Oh, all right. So he came clean with the allowance there. I'll take this. And again, I have no play there. I'm coming clean. I did not watch any film on Choi. Wasn't able to break that one down. But this next fight is interesting to me. Dawadu and Hori, right? Dawadu was brutally knocked out. Well, actually, he wasn't knocked out. He was knocked down and submitted, right? That was his one loss. And then they kind of slowly brought him back to life, gave him a couple wins, and I think he's back to a point where how can does Yoshinori Hori have a path to victory? I think his path to victory is he's got to finish the fight. I think Dawado is more athletic. I think he's going to be able to get in and out and use his kicks, use his striking advantage. He doesn't really wrestle much, so I don't think Hori has to worry about really being taken down. So this will stay on the feet. Hori's probably got about a round to 7 minutes to finish this fight, or Dawado's going to win a decision. So I'm going to go Dawado by decision. That's my original play, my official play. Minus 420. I'm not playing that on Dawado. I don't think he's trustworthy. But Hori could finish this fight. He's powerful. He could knock Dawado out, and Dawado has already been caught once. So I don't know. Minus 420 to me just isn't playable. Raphael, what do you think?
I have no opinion on this fight. For an odds maker, boy, would I love to see the minus $4 favorite go down, because out of 90% of the 14 parlays or higher has this fight on there, and not one of them has the underdog on here. So for an odds maker, boy, I would love to see an early $4 favorite go down, so I can kick back, drink my scotch, and laugh at all the bettors that keep on betting these parlays. So I'm a big dog bettor on this one, so I'm not going to have any action. But it would not shock me if the first Canada winner of the night is Dahudu. I think he's minus $4. They gave him cupcakes. They gave him Rocky Balboa fighters after that loss he had on there, just to try to get his confidence up. I would not be shocked if he does win, but for an odds maker, boy, would I love to see another Canadian fighter fall early in the card.
So, CJ, I don't think Raphael knows how much you like parlays, bro. You got to let him know.
What do you have against parlayers, Raphael? I thought we were cool, man. Jeez.
Parlays paid my salary for 13 Super Bowls at MGM in Las Vegas, and they continue to pay my salary for my booking and all the other consulting. So keep on parlaying it away.
Consider it done.
Go ahead, CJ. Who you got here?
Okay, so Dawadu is a very, very technical striker. He's got some of the best Muay Thai, in my opinion, at 145. I know he got knocked out by Danny Henry. Henry's very, very unconventional with his striking, not to mention he's a 6 foot tall featherweight. He caught Duadu coming in and then executed the submission. I think it was a guillotine or rear naked choke, but whatever it was, he came back. He outstruck Austin Arnett. Not very impressive. Arnett's not very athletic. He's not a very technical striker, but his win over Kyle Bochniak really did impress me. Bochniak was able to get inside against Zabit. And so honestly, when Bochniak was fighting Duadu, I was like, all right, I think, I thought it was a good spot for Bochniak, but Bochniak could not get inside on Duadu at all. Duadu kept him at bay the entire time, just basically systematically outstruck him that entire fight. Duadu lands almost 6 strikes per minute. He's just such a fundamental striker. I don't think Hori's going to have much of a shot in this fight. Hori has 8 wins, 5 TKOs. He comes in with reckless abandon, throws crazy hooks. He's looking for that highlight reel knockout. I don't think it's going to happen with Duadu. He already got his L against Danny Henry, UFC debut. Hopefully it was UFC jitters. I don't know, but I think Duadu is going to win this fight, probably by striking-based decision. Yeah, I don't really see much of a path for Hori. I like Duadu. And I'm just going to say right off the bat, so 2 weeks ago, I want to say Rodriguez was a minus 400 favorite. He lost. Yeah. Simone, we know, is about minus 350. He lost. Last week, Pilarte was, I think he got up to minus 350. He lost. I do not think we will see anybody in that range, one of the favorites, lose on this card. I just don't see it.
You got 4 of them. Right?
I don't see Cyborg losing. Yeah, and I see all those favorites cruising.
I have to agree with you. Before, when you were goofing around with your camera work before we were on air, I said that this card right here scares me with parlay bettors, because I would not be shocked that the big favorites come in on this one. I don't see, if there's one fight that we might have an upset, could be this one. Do I see it? No, but for all you parlay bettors, please be kind this weekend. I might need a hug.
Yeah, you could be in for it this weekend. Let's get into this next fight. I'm going to go 2 in a row just because I really like this fight. I don't know if anyone else does. Maybe it's a little weird, but if you look at Viviane Araújo, if you remember back to her debut, it was at 135. I believe she came in on like a week's notice. It may have actually been less than 7 days, literally. And she knocked out Bernardo in round 3. That was the card in Brazil. So it was Brazil on Brazil crime, and knocked her out in round 3. I was impressed with her power. I was impressed with the way that she kind of shoved her off when she went for takedowns. This girl was strong at 135, and now this fight's at 125. With that said, Alexis Davis has fought the better competition. And if you want a little bit of, Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of separation, Araujo's only loss is to Sarah Frodo, who I do like earlier on the card that we talked about before. So with that being said, I'm not saying I'm betting this fight, but I really want to see how good Araujo is at 125, because she was built like you wouldn't believe at 135 when she knocked out Bernardo. So this is a fight that I'm interested to watch and see how it looks. CG, what do you think?
I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid yet on Viviane. She did look impressive, but let's keep in mind it's against Talita Bernardo, who's 1-3 in the UFC, going against Alexis Davis, who, yeah, she dropped 2 in a row, 1 to Jennifer Maia. But if you look at the stats in that fight, Alexis Davis landed 72 strikes to Maia's 60. Davis had a takedown, Maia didn't, and Davis also had 2 advances. So you just look at the stats, and Alexis Davis won the fight on paper. It doesn't always go that way. I get it. Then before that, she loses to Chikagian, who might be next in line for a title shot against Shevchenko. Alexis Davis has 2 wins over Liz Carmouche. She's a crafty vet, but she's getting up there in age. She's on the wrong end of 30. But I don't know. To me, I have to see more from Viviane. So to me, it's dog or pass in this spot. I mean, Davis is just a gritty, grimy vet, so I'm not ready to counter out just yet.
You know, I do agree with that, which is why I'm not playing it. But by the same token, Araujo looked pretty good, man. She's got the power.
It's Bernardo, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, if you get hit, you get hit. I don't know, Raphael. What do you think? Break the tie here. What do you think? And I'm not. There's no play. I'm not recommending a play or anything. But I like the fight. What do you think?
I'm probably not going to have a play in this fight unless the Canadian money comes in on Davis and it goes, let's say, which I don't think Vivian's going to go anywhere lower than $2. But for some odd reason, it keeps on dropping because Canadian money keep on putting on that. If I can get minus 180, I might have to take a look at that one. But it's a pass for me right now. But I agree. Vivian looked really, really good. But again, you keep on saying it was against Bernardo, which I totally agree with you on that one. I'm not sold on Bernardo. And if you look at it, Davis, you said it, she's fought better opponents. Granted, her face looks like she's fought better opponents because you said she's on the wrong side of 30. I'm going to pass this one, but I'm going to be rooting for Vivian because I think she could be something in this division and in UFC, so I'm going to be rooting for her.
And again, the thing with Araujo, the way that I think she can win this fight is just keep it on the feet and just outstrike her. She's going to have the more powerful strikes. You know, Tyler's not here this week. He'll be back next week. But he always says when you get into a fight and you're judging, it's about how much damage you do. And I think Araujo, if it stays in the feet, is going to wind up doing more damage. This isn't Caitlin Chuchagian who's going to, or last week, Irene Aldana, who they're not punching air. Araujo did not punch air. She punched Bernardo right in the face.
She's got that Mike Tyson fighting stance where she's always bobbing and weaving when she's throwing those punches. So she's hard to connect. So I agree on that. This fight has a big circle on this because I really want to see how both fighters. Because if Davis loses, she may be packing her bags and
that would be 3 losses. Yeah, that's true about that. Raphael, let me throw you this next fight. I haven't thrown you one in a while. Jotko and Barriol. Give us that initial breakdown. What do you think?
Oh, this fight's horrible for me. I mean, no one's betting it. I was looking at the ticket counts when you said, "Hey, you want to go on?" I got home a little bit early because I was speeding, driving home because I wanted to do a little bit more research. This has no thrill for me at all. I mean, the public's gonna bet the dogs because it's Canada, but Jotko, I think. I'm shocked that he's not $2 or higher on this one. I really thought when I did my original numbers before we were posting, I think I made him 220, thinking, okay, granted, I know he's fighting in someone else's backyard, but I was a little bit kind of blown away that he wasn't the way this card is, where all the favorites we're almost opening up $2 or higher, $2 or higher. I'm like, oh, this Jotko fight is going to be $2 or higher. And then maybe look at the Canadian one. This one's totally confused me. I like the way the height that Jotko is going to come in as one. I think his jab is going to establish really early. And I think that's why he's got the little bit more reach. I think, 2-3 inches, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm lefty. He's a southpaw. Give me Jotko. I can't. Gotta root for the southpaws.
All right, CG. I feel like you're thinking takedown here. What do you think?
So no, I've been listening to podcast shows all week, and I'm just getting pissed off because people are just telling lies. I keep on hearing people say that Barriault was taken down at will by Andrew Sanchez. That is statistically untrue. That flat out did not happen. Sanchez, who's a Division I All-American wrestler, I think he's All-American. Regardless, he's a Division I wrestler. Shot in for 8 takedowns against Barriault. Barriault stuffed 6 of them. He was taken down twice. He had 75% takedown defense against a Division I American wrestler. Barriault landed the much better strikes in that fight. Barriault looked good. Man, he strikes with power. And Jotko was knocked out twice in his last 3 fights. And people are just assuming that Krzysztof Jotko, who hasn't had remove that Amedovski fight. That guy was a can. He was terrible. Jotko took him down 4 times, whatever. It means nothing. The last time he had more than 2 takedowns in a fight before that, he had 2 takedowns in February of 2016, I guess, against Bradley Scott, I want to say, who's no longer in the UFC. People are acting like Jotko's DC. He's not. He's not that good of a wrestler. If Barriault keeps this fight standing, I think he's going to have the edge. I think he could knock Jotko out. Jotko doesn't have a chin. Jotko was outstruck by Brad Tavares, who's the much smaller middleweight. I don't know. Like, this always happens. I have a definitive stance on one fighter, then I hear people talk about the other guy, and it makes me question and doubt myself. But no, I mean, I like Barriault in this fight.
If Barriault can land his body
based on Jotko's recent performances. Yeah, another thing too, and I'm not much of a narrative guy, but Barriault trains in Montreal. Andrew Sanchez also trains at TriStar in Montreal. They've been training together for this fight. So, I mean, that's got to help him. If he can keep the fight standing, if he can stuff 75% of Sanchez's takedowns, what's he going to do to Jotko? I don't think Jotko's going to take him down. Or maybe he gets one, maybe whatever. When the fight remains standing, if there's more than a couple exchanges, I think Jotko's getting put to sleep. Give me Barriault.
CG, it is amazing that I could read your mind. I knew you were thinking takedown, and I didn't know if you were going to go with Jotko or not, but I am totally in agreement. If you go back to that last fight with Barriault,
I get long-winded. I'm sorry about that.
No. You 100%. Everything you were going to say is more or less how I was thinking. I'm hearing people talk about the takedowns, but Barriault, I mean, for the most part, even when he did get taken down, he got back up, and I was shocked. I was shocked late in that fight. He's still throwing punches with power, and not for nothing, but he's fought fights at 205, right? At light heavyweight. This guy is very built, very strong. I think he knocks Jotko out. So, let's go back up there real quick, and let's just see what this pays out. And it's in Canada too.
Yeah, I mean, Sanchez just laid on him. It did nothing for a good portion of that fight. I mean, to me, there should have been more intervention from the ref. Split them up, break them apart, let them actually fight. Because
Barriault wins by KO TKO with plus 400. Plus 400.
Wow.
I know if he connects, he's going to knock Jotko out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's going to connect. All I'm saying is if he connects, he's going to knock him out. I don't think
that's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
When I kept on hearing this week, taken down at will against Andrew Sanchez, that is just not the fucking case. It is just not.
So I'm on Barriault.
Two takedowns.
Yeah. And he's actually in my GPP lineup. This next fight, I mean, OAM, I feel like I get him wrong every time. I don't even know who wants to take this. CG, go ahead.
Oh, jeez.
Sarukian and OAM. I mean, someone's got to do it, right?
There's a lot of hype with Sarukian. Guy has a 13-2 record, 10 finishes, 5 subs, 5 KOs. He was taken down and controlled by Makhachev. Uneventful fight, if you look at the fight metrics. But I guess going the distance with the top 15 lightweight is a big deal in your UFC debut. OAM is 11-4, 1 KO, 8 subs. Overall, I give the edge to Sarukian because OAM was out-grappled in his last 2 fights, taken down 4 times by Hernandez and 3 times by Gilbert Burns. And watching Hernandez fight last weekend, dude, the kid's not that good. So the fact that he was able to take down OAM 4 times and control him, yeah, I think Sarukian's going to be able to do the same thing. So I like Sarukian, probably grappling-based decision. And goddamn, these mosquitoes are really pissing me off.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if Hernandez isn't that good or just Donald Cerrone changed the course of that kid's career. You know what I mean? And
that's very well possible too.
He's gotta figure something out before he can be himself again. But Raphael, what do you think? Sarukian and OAM.
Yeah, I mean, Sarukian is the play for me on this one. It's going to be a play for the public. And boy, if you kind of look at the card, the UFC really want to punish all the Canadian fighters because most of the Canadian fighters are underdogs on this one. Usually, they make them. We've seen it in Brazil. They make them the huge favorites on that one. Yeah, I like Sakakari on this one, but yeah, I totally agree. I have no idea what kind of fight you're going to get out of Oliveira on this one. I scratch my head every time he's in the octagon. But I'm going to go back in the Barrett fight, Jotko fight. If Barrett lands body shots first, like he did in the whole fight that set up his head punches and his power punches, then I agree with you guys. I just don't know if he's going to be able to land those body shots against Jotko.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're going back to the other fight. All right.
Yeah, I wanted to make that statement just because I remember Barrett, his body shots were like Canelo Alvarez body shots. He was just digging the body first, second round, and then that opened up the headshots. I don't see he needs that to win that fight.
Yeah, and I'll give a pick. I'm gonna go Sarukian, but I'm not betting that fight. I don't like OAM at all. I don't like the way he fights. Canadian gangster, right? Is his whole mantra. I'm just not a big fan of the way he does things. So let's get into this next fight. Raphael, why don't I throw you this one? This is a pretty good fight. We were talking about it previous. Jeff Neal and Nico Price. I think this one is going to finish. It's just a matter of when. Any plays here, and who do you like?
Yeah, no place for me, but I agree. I think Neal finishes him pretty. I would be shocked if this one goes to the third round. Totally, he's gonna dominate. I mean, I know Nico Price he's got some glory. He's got heart. He's probably not gonna want to. He's what 3 out of 4 wins. I think 3 straight KO wins or something like that. I don't have it in front of me. But overall, Neal's just a better fighter, the better athlete. He's got speed. I think that's just going to bother Price early. I think Neal easily wins this one. Again, totally shocked if this thing goes to the third round. Give me Neal.
Yeah, and Neal, every time I watch tape and I see the beating he put on Frank Camacho, man, I just feel bad for Frank Camacho. Frank the Tanks was a good dude. He did an interview on the podcast and everything. That was crazy.
He's probably still feeling that.
Yeah, that was a beating, man. CG, what do you think here?
So I can never get Jeff Neal right. I've always disrespected the guy. He beat Camozzi. Then his next fight, he was getting ready to fight Frank Camacho. And I was like, Camacho's going to beat him with volume. He almost killed Camacho. And then when Neal's getting ready to fight Bilal Muhammad, I started to continue to doubt him. And I kept on telling myself, well, Camacho's technically a 155er. He shouldn't be fighting at 170. I think Muhammad's going to beat him with his pace, volume, and takedowns. Jeff Neal has the craziest freaking takedown defense I've ever seen in my entire life. But Muhammad kept on trying to get him down, and he was posting off one arm, and Muhammad couldn't do anything about it. Then when the fight was standing and they're striking back and forth, dude, Neal's striking, it's very basic but very fundamental. And his straight left is fantastic. He's a southpaw. His kicks are fantastic. Like, you cannot get inside on that guy. Like, I don't know what Nico Price is going to do here. I mean, he was getting his ass beat by Tim Means. Let's be honest. Nico landed a lucky punch, but I don't think that Jeff Neal will give Nico Price that opening, that opportunity. I like Neal by first or second round KO.
Yeah, I do too. That's gonna, my official play is very similar to that. I'm gonna take this next one. We got Cyborg and Felicia Spencer, and I don't see this fight leaving round one. I think Cyborg is gonna put a beating on her like you wouldn't believe. So I just looked at the prop plays, and Cyborg in round one is -140. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put a bet on that. I think she's gonna use the jab early. Felicia Spencer is not a good striker at all. And if she even throws a punch, Cyborg's counter punch is probably going to knock her out. That's my breakdown. So Felicia Spencer is going to run and try to jump at her knees, jump at her ankles. And again, all that means is she's not going to get knocked out in the first 90 seconds. She's going to get knocked out, 4 minutes into round one. So my official play is going to be Justino, first round -140. Raphael, what do you think?
Probably watch boxing, maybe see what's going on in a baseball game during this fight. I mean, there's this fight. You said everything.
It's gonna be quick, bro. It's gonna be quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be quick. And again, boy, does UFC hate Canada right now? Why would they make this the co-main event with a Canadian fighter? That's probably not going to see the second round. I totally agree with you on this one, Spencer. I mean, I'm going to be rooting for Spencer because, again, parlays are going to be heavy on Cyborg, so I'm going to be rooting for Spencer. But at the same time, I'd rather watch the Blue Jays. I'd rather watch old Montreal Expo baseball games than watch this fight.
Well, listen, that's certainly available for you. But the one thing I can say about this, the better conversation, and we can even talk about this a little bit after I throw it to CG, is what's going on with the 145-pound division. Maybe the better conversation and even break it down this fight. But CG, what do you think here?
So we all know Cyborg's a beast, lands 7 strikes per minute. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to lie. Spencer scares me a little bit. 7
I
wins,
like your
5
thinking.
finishes. 5 finishes, 4 of them by submission. And I don't know if you've been watching UFC embedded all week, but man, she is as cool as a fucking cucumber, man. Like, she genuinely looks confident in this fight. She doesn't look scared. She's been laughing, having a good time. Like, that's a great mindset going into a fight. Another thing about Cyborg, she was taken down by Kunitskaya and Evinger. Spencer probably has better takedowns than both. And if Spencer gets Cyborg to the ground and Cyborg exposes her back, she could be in for a world of trouble. Okay, listen, like Cyborg probably wins by KO round 1 or round 2, but at that line, I'm not betting Cyborg. No freaking way. So, Steve, that's a good line. -140, Cyborg inside the distance. You probably hit it.
No, Cyborg
I'm
first
just
round.
saying.
Cyborg first round
Oh,
is -140. Yeah.
oh, so what's okay? So Cyborg inside the
Inside.
distance.
Let me look at it real quick.
That's like -450, I think. Isn't it much more?
Yeah, you probably want to go KO. TKO is -265, but I think it's going to be first round.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm not betting that. I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what. I think Spencer's more dangerous than Kunitskaya. I think she's more dangerous than Evinger. If Spencer can close the distance, get Cyborg to the ground, I mean, she's a smart fighter. I don't know. Like I said, Cyborg probably wins. Exercise some caution. That's all.
The only thing I'll say to that is I think Kunitskaya is more athletic. Evinger is, in my opinion, is a little more of a crafty vet. But not for nothing, neither one of them wanted anything to do with her on the feet. And Spencer, I don't think is gonna. I mean, this could actually be Spencer trying to get her down, grabbing her ankles, and then just getting ground and pounded because Cyborg gets on top of her and just pounds her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
let's also
that
mention
could be what it
right
is.
now. Felicia Spencer, I mean, she Felicia Spencer, like you look at her, she looks like doesn't look very athletic, almost looks a little bit chunky, but she's got a hot freaking face, man. Her face is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
You're hanging out with way too many mosquitoes, bro.
You don't think she's pretty? I think she's pretty. I don't know.
All right.
Hey, maybe the beer goggles, who knows?
So listen, here.
I'll take Vivian over her.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Spencer just seems like a really cool chick. Maybe it's her personality.
I think you've been watching way too many of the UFC embedded shows. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's you up in the woods and not knowing what's going on. So CG, let me throw this right back to you. 145-pound women's division. The winner of this fight basically fights Nunes, no?
Absolutely. And whoever fights Nunes is going to lose, and then they should disband the division and never bring it back.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Cyborg, right? This is the last fight of her deal, so she's going to have to re-sign with them if she wants. If she doesn't re-sign if she wins this fight and doesn't re-sign with the UFC, I think that's the end of the 145 right there.
So, I mean, most divisions have a top 15, right?
They have top 3?
I was going to say, yeah, I was going to say top 5, but that would be generous. I mean, it's basically Megan Anderson, Felicia Spencer, and Cyborg, and Nunes. And before they had
they had Holly Holm, they had Durandamy come up, but they're 135ers that came up just to fight a championship fight.
Yeah, and Macy Chason won the 145 division on tough, but then she went down to 135.
And she struggles to make 135, but
yeah, but I'll tell you what, dude, I think she might be the biggest threat to Nunes. She's a great fighter.
Yeah, she is.
Very tough, good striker. Tough as hell.
I personally don't think there are any threats to Nunes after what she did to the Cyborg and some of these other girls, man. She is a beast. But CG, finish us off here. Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar. You know my boy Frankie Edgar from Jersey. Holloway right now is -350. This is the main event. What do you think? Break this down.
I love Frankie Edgar. Love Max Holloway. Two of my favorite fighters. I keep on hearing people say throughout the week, Max Holloway's takedown defense is unbelievable. Max Holloway's takedown defense is very good. 83%. He was taken down 3 times in his last 2 fights. Once by Poirier, twice by Ortega. In terms of wrestling fundamentals and accolades, they're not on the same level as Frankie Edgar. Let's be honest. Another thing, Max had a hard time making 145, beat the piss out of Ortega, almost 300, 6 strikes. but then he went to 155, was beat by Poirier. I want to see how he looks at weigh-ins, man. I think this weight cut's going to be very, very tough on him. And Frankie Edgar fights at a ridiculous pace, almost, 3.6 strikes per minute, lands 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. If Edgar can get the fight to the ground, and personally, I think that he can, I don't think this fight is as close as people think. Or I think this fight is closer than people think. Max probably wins based on his volume, almost 7 strikes per minute. But I think that Frankie's going to give him one hell of a fight. I really, really do. Holloway doesn't have the ironclad takedown defense that Jose Aldo does. He just doesn't. So the pick is Max Holloway. I'm just not betting him much at all at that line. I don't trust it. Frankie's one tough son of a bitch. So Max with caution.
So Raphael, do you know who has the longer reach in this fight?
I want to say it's Holloway, but I think it's Edgar on paper.
It's on paper, it's Edgar by 3 inches, which I think is shocking to me because he's got a 5-inch height advantage, Holloway does, and Edgar has a 3-inch reach advantage, which I think is shocking.
I'm not seeing that.
No?
I'm seeing Holloway 69, Edgar 68 on Fight Metric.
Oh, I see 72 for Frankie Edgar. It could be wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I'm on Tapology. That's what I do all my studying on. So that's what I wrote down. But you know what? We could be wrong. So let's throw that out here. But Raphael, where do you see the action? And then what do you think on this fight? Where are the bets coming in?
Well, of course, the action's coming in on Holloway just because I think it's the bigger name. The Hawaiians love to bet Max Holloway. It's funny how we'll pull up our where our action's coming in, and it seems like the whole state of Hawaii or the country and all that, it's all over Holloway. This one is 100% for me weigh-in. Last 2 big UFC events, weigh-ins were huge. We saw it with the Ladd fight. She looked horrible at weigh-ins. She loses. We saw it last week with Vic. Looked horrible at weigh-in. He loses. I'm a 100% agree of how's Max Holloway going to look at weigh-in. If he looks horrible like we saw Ladd, like we saw Vic, then bomb all over Edgar, and I'm trying to get as big as plus money as possible. This one for me has a weigh-in circled all over it because, like I said, the last 2 big UFC events, weigh-ins were huge with some of the action that I was taking and some of the action that we were taking in as a sports book. So for me, I want to see how Holloway is. If he looks bad, shaky, whatever, he looks like he maybe had a bad cut, then I think Edgar is probably going to be the play for myself, and we'll probably still get Max Holloway money in no matter how he looks that way, and he could probably faint on the scale, and the public will still bet him. But for me, for a betting purpose, yeah, I'm waiting to see what weigh-in looks like because you said Edgar, one son of a bitch, tough fighter. I wouldn't want to bet against him.
Yeah, I'm on UFCstats.com right now, and they have Frankie Edgar at 68 inch reach. So yeah, Holloway does have the 1-inch reach advantage. And Typology usually is pretty accurate though, so I'm surprised that they have that.
But being 4 inches taller, you would think Holloway would have a bigger reach advantage than 1 inch.
Yeah, you would. But by the same token,
yeah, it's not always the case though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Frankie Edgar. The one thing I can tell you about this is in cash on DraftKings, stack this. I think this is going to go deep 4 or 5 rounds. I personally think it goes to decision. I mean, Frankie Edgar, he's only been knocked out once. It was by Brian Ortega. He got caught inside, right, with that elbow on the inside. And Max Holloway, when he does finish people, it's usually later in the fight. Right, Aldo was round.
Yeah, it's just by accumulation. Holloway doesn't really have that one punch knockout power.
Yeah, nope. And again, right against Jose Aldo, it was round 3 twice, and against Ortega, it was round 4. He didn't answer the bell in round 5.
Correct.
Right, so it's the accumulation, and in that case on DraftKings, I mean, damn, there's going to be a ton of points if they get to round 4 and 5. I know Frankie Edgar isn't as hittable as other fighters are. I don't know how successful he's going to be with his wrestling, but he could steal rounds if he gets a wrestling takedown, a minute or 2 into the fight. I'm just looking forward to watching this fight. I don't think I'm going to be betting anything. DraftKings, I'm definitely going to stack it, but that's more or less where I'm at with this fight. So, CJ, I know you're going to be spending the next few days in the woods, right? Anything else coming up?
No, man. That's it. Unfortunately, I will not be able to watch the fights on Saturday. God, I'm pissed about that. So I will be expecting constant updates throughout the night.
Oh
Right?
yeah, we got
Make
you.
that
I
happen.
definitely. Yeah, I got the. I don't know where I'm watching them either,
All
to be
right.
honest with you. But yeah, I got you some updates. Raphael, what do you have going on this week? Anything else? I know you do your daily show today. You want to plug that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I do a whole bunch of stuff. I have a live YouTube show on Twitter tomorrow called Ask a Bookie, which is very fun. I mean, people could come in and ask questions about us setting lines or what the public's betting on. I give out statistics, what the book is taking, what the how many ticket counts. People always want to know what's the disparity when it comes to any kind of football fight, stuff like that. So we'll talk about UFC this weekend. Some nice boxing matches on DAZN at Arlington. Ramirez Hooker Saturday in Arlington, Texas. Should be a fantastic boxing match. Of course, UFC 240 this weekend as well. So it's always a good contact weekend. If we were throwing in some wrestling, it'd be a great weekend of contacts of fights and wrestling. But there's no WWE this weekend, so it's just UFC and boxing on Saturday.
Listen, UFC. There's plenty on with UFC. I'm gonna be interested to see if they finish up this card. I know there's only 11 fights right now, and that one fight dropped. I'm interested to see if they find anybody. But until they completely turn the lights off on CG, I guess we should just get out of here.
I want to see him get eaten by mosquitoes some more. I'm enjoying that.
He definitely should have a s'more in his hand or something.
Yeah, he wants to see me get eaten by mosquitoes. He hates parlayers. What's next? You don't like Labatt or Molson?
I like Michigan. I born and raised in the Midwest, used to go to Michigan all the time. So I agree with you. The whole state of Michigan has some great, beautiful scenes. So I agree with you on Michigan. So how about that?
Just giving you a hard time, man. No worries.
All right,
hey, you
thanks
guys are drinking beer and wine, and I'm sitting here working. I don't drink on weekdays, so you guys are polishing cocktails.
Next time you come on Brews and Bets, you're gonna have to have a cocktail or something. I don't know what to tell you.
I
don't have any beers. That's why I went to wine tonight. I don't have work tomorrow, so
I don't drink on weekdays. That's the sad part of my life.
Well, listen, this is why I don't make rules. All right.
I'll drink a couple more for you, buddy.
Thanks.
Good luck this week, guys.